So, here we are. I don't know exactly why I'm doing this, but I figured I'd do a little tour of my wonderful little skyblock world. Let's put these potatoes away. It's a good time here. This is Sky Factory 2. It's a mod pack that starts you off with one singular tree and one block of dirt, and that is it. You have to go everything from there. In this case, it was this singular block of dirt right here, and an oak tree. So, I might as well plant one here, just for old time's sake. Let's see if I can spam shift to get it to grow, because that's a thing that is in this mod pack. But of course, you can also sprint around it. Is another thing you can do. So, you start off with one tree, one block of dirt. You'll use X and Hilo a lot to get some resources, and you just build out from there. The first project was over at the mob farm over here. Don't mind me flying. I have Zavisio armor. This started off as just a very short mob farm. And small. You can see a little bit where the slabs used to be right there. This used to just be one block wide. I could just walk around, bop mobs with it normally with just a sword, and it was a good time. Since then, it's been significantly upgraded. It's now automated with fans and spikes, and then I added in the cursed earth a little bit later just to make it even more efficient. One of these days I'll build a bigger one, especially because I need a lot more string, but this will do for now. It's a good time. The next project was pretty simple. It was just a little potato farm, but it was fun. Who doesn't like potatoes? I like potatoes. Of course, after that, we got big things started, and that's when we made the cobblestone generator here. There's a lot of stuff around it now, but it started off with just lava, water, and mining this one little block of cobblestone. I then worked my way up to get a transfer node and a world interaction upgrade, which serves to automate it, and I've then since added 2 more and several more upgrades. So, I have a fairly large amount of cobblestone currently, but that came much later. Okay, I'm just gonna turn Minecraft music off for the moment. Of course, that's when I built this platform, used Ex Nihilo to get a bunch more resources. It was a fun time. It's when I started doing power generation stuff. Most of that setup is gone, but it was pretty simple setup using some of these solar panels here, and then a generator from Ender.io. It worked basically, it was an automated setup. Over here, I had a crucible that was just melting cobblestone. It's empty now because I don't use it anymore. But it was just melting cobblestone down into lava. The lava was put into a bucket and then right into this lovely Stirling generator, which produced power for the original pulverizer and redstone furnace, which was the start of my ore processing system. It was fun. I did eventually make another portal, go to the Nether, but the big windfall came, of course, when I managed to make this, my portal to the Deep Dark, which, of course, is the best way of getting resources in this type of skyblock. It's very dangerous, of course, but right now I have mined a large portion of the Deep Dark out using ender quarries. So with all this dirt is here. The current ender quarry is fairly large. It's over here. Here it is, ender quarry. I have a couple of upgrades. This took a while to make, but I might as well show you this now. It's a pretty basic setup. You use end markers to mark out the fence boundary here. Then you place down your ender quarry, hook it up to power, and then items come out into the chest, into the tesseract, which is also providing power to the ender quarry, and then I just have a speed and a fortune upgrade and a junk loader to keep it all loaded. You saw me using right there, that was my enhanced charm of dislocation. That's from Draconic Evolution. It's a very fun mod. You can just use it to teleport around some places. But let me show you what I had before I had a lot of these fancy tools. I will say these are the original Tinker's Construct tools I had. I've upgraded them pretty thoroughly. I don't know what even Stonebound is, but it's a modifier that I have. But let's show some of it. Most of that is what I keep in what is now called the Workshop, which was a platform I constructed later on in the skyblock process. I wanted to separate a lot of make just a very clean area. So this is the main room of the I'm poisoned. There we go. No good poisoned. This is the main room of my wonderful workshop here. This is simply for manual tools, and of course it houses the core of the next big project I did, which was building an ME system from Applied Logistics 2, which is one of my favorite mods. It is such a useful system when you want to store large amounts of materials, and it allows you to do wonderful things with auto crafting, which, as I'm sure you can see, I really like. You can do large amount of crafting if you have the materials for it, and store stuff like 51 million cobblestone, except of course that is all the way over. If you take the elevator down, you can see where we are. That 51 million cobblestone is stored over here in this deep storage unit. I just have a lovely storage bus hooking it up to my workshop over here. These are just elevators from open blocks, if you don't know. They're very useful. So the main room of my workshop is strictly for manual use machines. So I have some Ender IO stuff here. I have the cyanide reprocessor from big reactors, and then mostly thermal expansion here with the Draconic chest, which is just used as a furnace. My game just crashed. That is a fun time. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why the game crashed. I was saying I have a Draconic chest here that I use mostly just as a furnace, because it's big. Over here I have my original set of diamond armor and the jetpack I made before I have the VCO armor. Of course, there's a little bit of a glitch where you can still use the VCO flight if you just switch it off with an armor stand like that. This is what I used before I made the VCO armor. Oh, one of the things I invested on early on, let's actually get my normal armor back for this, is I made a wireless charger from Dartcraft, which is oh so useful if you use anything that uses RF. Like I have the electromagnet and the wireless charger and most of my tools, or at least my pickaxe and mattock from Tinker's Construct use RF. I just have to be in my workshop and they will be charged. It's a very convenient system. Of course, I've talked about my Tinker's tools a couple times. You can look up here is my main Tinker's smeltery. I actually have several different Tinker's smelteries here, and they all serve different purposes, but this is the main one. It's a fairly large smeltery. I have it set up for automatic ingot pouring and output directly to the ME system if I want. I have this set so pull in items you put into this barrel. And then on the other side here, I have a magma crucible, which is useful for grinding up, for instance, ender pearls if I need resident ender in here. Out back, I have your usual set of the rest of the Tinker's Construct tools, along with another ME terminal, which I just put up here because I thought it would be useful to have access to, and it is. Of course, it's a little tight in this room, but it's here. I don't know why my bed is here. It's just the place I put for it. So now let's talk magic. This was a more recent development that I decided to invest a little bit in, but I started doing some Thaumcraft. I now at this point have a Thaumy embossed silverwood wand, which probably not the best wand in the game, but definitely one of the better ones. Got several focuses. Of course, everyone's favorite focus should be the portable hole, because it's oh so fun. Ow. Until you do that, and nearly fall into the void. I'm just going to teleport back up, because it's faster. Oh, right. Before I had the Charm of Dislocation, of course, I used the wonderful... It's not in there. It's probably in here. Yes. A charged porter. This, of course, is a single-use little quick teleport right back to this matter receiver. It uses RF, but of course, since I have that wireless charger almost directly next to the charged porter, as soon as I teleport back, it just gets charged right back up. You've seen me open this bag a couple times now. This is just made for tools and other things I want to carry around frequently with me. Just a basic golden bag of holding. I'm trying to remember what's missing out of it at the moment. I do keep stacks of these end conduits. I have energy, fluid. There is definitely something missing out here, which I will think of eventually. But in the meantime, right, my hammer. Wonderful. So, I was saying, not Ars Magic, a Thaumcraft. Pretty basic Thaumcraft setup with a couple of slight alterations. You of course got your crucible here with some lava under it, just boiling away. I have a tank that's self-refilling here for water for it. I do keep a bucket in my hotbar at all times. It's come in useful. And then this is a fun little thing. Through Thaumic Energistics, you have ME compatibility with Essentia. So I have a fair amount of a lot of the different Essentia. Definitely not a lot of some of them, but a decent amount of the basic ones. And then of course you have the Arcane Crafting Table, which is just a lot like your Arcane Work Table, but it has access to your crafting, which is super useful. I then, of course, have 3 different alchemical furnaces. Each one only has 1 alembic. That is because right here I have this set of Essentia import buses, which take them directly out of the alembic right into the ME system. So I never have to worry about it. Then, of course, if you're doing this, you need an infusion station. Or not an infusion station, a runic matrix. For arcane infusions, I have this set up with the crystals in the ceiling, the candles, it's all perfectly symmetrical. I assume this is about as stable as you can get. I'm not entirely certain, to be honest, but it works quite well for me. And I don't actually have to use these warded jars that much because of this lovely thing, which is an infusion provider, which allows me to draw the Essentia directly out of my ME network into the inception table, which makes everything a whole lot easier. I don't have to deal with files and warded jars. Okay, I think it's now about time to talk about one of the main things I do in this world, which is, of course, automation. I have a lot of automation set up through here, this room is for your basic machine automation. There's quite a couple things. Here you have your automated pulverizer. This is all through applied logistics for the most part, with a couple extra mods thrown in for fun. You have your ultimate furnace for magical crops because it's fast. I'm almost have enough VCO to replace this with an ultimate furnace. I need to make one more VCO block and then I can upgrade that, and that'll be a very nice upgrade to do. So you have your pulverizer. I have another redstone furnace here because these you start to get a lot of these different patterns and you can only have so many per furnace here. So I have an extra there, and then you have your alloy smelter, and then these two are actually linked to a interface above this chest right here at the top. So this is for stuff like mostly tesseracts and energy cells. This could auto-craft all of those things. And I have, behind these panels, I have item conduits from Ender.io, which are by far my favorite type of conduit because they can overlap and everything is so nice with them. So I just hide them behind marbles covers from Forge Microblocks. I then have here Ender.io automation machines, and this is the most recent addition to this room. This is for auto-crafting compressed cobblestone, and only compressed cobblestone. That's all these can do. I can set them up to do some other things, I suppose, but that's all these ones do. It is for a challenge. Part of this mod pack includes a bunch of challenges, and one of the later on ones is to fill one chunk with compressed triple cobblestone. It takes a couple, many thousand. I currently have 8,000 and counting. It's currently crafting it, so I can't start another set. But I just inserted this for auto crafting. The other thing in this room is this simple little setup with an autonomous activator that is just hooked up to an export bus, which is exporting loot bags into it. So this is just auto collecting loot bags, and there's an import bus under this chest, just pulling everything back in. It's just to upgrade that. To level up, you go to the more creative automation room. This is just an an aqueous accumulator supplying the base with water. It's originally in here because it's made for this quick little setup. It's a barrel from Ex Nihilo and an autonomous activator. This is to just solely to automate clay. It's not particularly useful, but it comes in handy once in a while. The clay just gets sucked into the vacuum hopper, into the chest, and back out to my ME system. Then, of course, I have this. And like I said, I have a couple different smelteries. This is the smeltery made for automation. It's currently, probably, not successfully. I find that these redstone clocks can be a little glitchy. I might have to make an actual redstone clock. This is for automation of a couple different alloys that are either only can make in a furnace or are much easier to make in a furnace. Namely, signalium and endurium are much easier to make in a smeltery. I have a what's it called, a magma crucible hidden in the corner here, which can supply redstone or ender pearls in, and then this is just to stop anything from pouring while the smeltery is in use, and it's still melting down ingots. It's just a comparator out to a redstone clock. It's a pretty basic little setup, but it's quite effective. I'm currently making some more endurium in there. Of course, this is just an unused room, but that is far from everything I have set up through automation. A lot of this world, the rest of this world, is essentially automation. This is the main crafting array. Every of these molecular assembler does have 5 entire acceleration cards in it. It is, for the time being, large enough. I might have to expand in the future. I do have channels left, plenty of channels left on these dense cables. I'm currently only using 21 out of 32 channels. So I could add at least another set of these. And over here, of course, with the storage, and the crafting CPUs for crafting. This large one is I installed here solely for uh, the compressed cobblestone crafting. That's why it has to be so big, because you need several, about, you need thousands upon thousands of cobblestone. Of course, this here is just a magma crucible that's constantly supplied with cobblestone to just give my base a little bit of lava whenever needed, mostly for the smelteries, but it comes in useful for other things. This is just a trash can. I have this solely set up for the imports of my mob grinder. My ME system was getting clogged down with bows, so I have this with this is a fuzzy export bus. It's just any durability that is less than full. It gets exported right to here. I'm sure there are other things in my ME system that I could probably serve to export if damaged, but nothing significant like the bows were from the mob grinder. Look, yeah, there's some immediate things right here I could probably put in that, but I am lazy. Look at all this armor that I really don't need. I will probably clean that out one day. This is the main ender chest, which everything gets exported to eventually. This is the main entry point for basically everything into my system, ME system. All comes in through here. Then over here, I have this lovely little platform, which serves various purposes. This is the third and final smeltery here. It is solely for grinding up end lily seeds and turning them directly into ender pearls. I could grow end lilies, but I find it's easier to grow enderman essence with magical crops. We'll go there in a second, though. This was a little system I set up for a couple of things that you can only still get through sieving with Ex Nihilo. This is a pulverizer that either can pulverize netherrack or cobblestone into its respective pulverization, and then it gets sieved. And then from there, it takes the broken down pieces, crafts them into whatever you need. There's auto crafter here, then smelts them in the draconic chest. And then because that produces the Ex Nihilo version of all the ores, I just have this pulverizer here to crush them, and then it will resmelt them into the thermal foundation version of all the ores, which is the main version I prefer to have, because it's the default version in Ore Dictionary. So I mentioned magical crops a second ago, so let's talk about that now. This is a pretty basic magical crop setup. I only have a handful currently working. These are just farming stations from Ender.io. Just make sure they have hose and put them in, and they do all the farming for you. It's not particularly effective setup, so I have blaze, glowstone, Certus quartz, and in that one, and potatoes, of course. And in this one, I have normal quartz, enderman essence, and yellowite. The yellowite's the important one here. I have a fair amount of most materials. This just goes to all the ores, to a basic little setup with another auto crafter, crafting them into whatever I need, and then this tesseract is both for power and to bring in the specific yellowite ore. Other than that, it just gets imported directly into the ME system. That, of course, is that system here. I think since I've been talking about yellowite so much, it's time to mention the big reactors. These are now my main source of power for the entire base. I started with one measly little reactor, added a second identical one, added a bigger one, added a much bigger one. And when I was still having power issues, I made turbines. So these are very efficient turbines. They are meant for high speed. They are a constant, almost 1800 RPM with ludicrite in them, which I find is the most effective block. So each of these produces exactly 28,042 RF per tick, and I have 3 of them, so that's producing more than enough power. That power, of course, all gets stored over here in this lovely draconic energy core. You can see I have quite a bit of RF storage, and it's going up constantly. So I have currently a large surplus of energy, and I'm in absolutely no need to upgrade soon. For here, I can support another turbine, I just simply do not need it. This was something I forgot to mention earlier. This is just a simple little wood farm. I didn't mean to shear the sheep. But it is a lovely little... No, I said wood farm. I meant animal farm. There is a vacuum chest here just to suck up feathers and eggs from the chickens, but it is just here mostly for fun. I don't really use a lot of this. Wool does come in helpful sometimes, though. Um, let's talk a little bit about stuff under the platform here, and about more of this. I do still have lava being constantly produced, mostly at these 4 magma crucibles here. They're constantly producing lava, which is all fed into this drum here, which is then fed directly into this magma crucible, which I just have constantly churning out obsidian. I don't have any particular need for obsidian. I just set this up all ages ago and left it set up. I think it's also probably about time to talk about my main ore processing setup. Everything comes into this through this tesseract and directly into this crystal chest. From there, it gets sorted out. Most of the base materials end up into this chest, where the cobblestone goes over and into this deep storage unit over there, and then the rest of the materials go down into these deep storage units for granite, andesite, diorite, marble, and limestone. This is the last one here. These are all stored in bulk, so I don't have to worry about them clogging up my ME system. The ores are all directly smelted through this draconic chest, which duplicates some of the vanilla ores and leaves the other ores alone. I probably should set up this properly so it duplicates all the ores, but I'm essentially lazy and don't really feel the need to for most of it. I have quite a large amount of most of the base materials, except stuff like Invar, which of course are alloys, and I could make 1,000 of them if I so choose, which I don't currently need. So this setup works fine enough for me. That all goes into the gold chest once it's done processing, which is then simply transported to this ender chest, which goes back into the ME system. Some of the water coming from the aqueous accumulators used to feed the obsidian generator over there also comes down here. It splits off here. Some of it goes into this drum, which goes into these cauldrons, which are used to supply witch water. I don't have any particular use for witch water. It's useful if I'm making soul sand, but I just had this set up. I just left this set up in case I ever need soul sand. Most of the water, of course, goes into the tesseract, which is to produce and supply water for my turbines, which were for my reactor to turn to steam for my turbines, of course. And then probably my most recent setup is this simple little blaze farm here. It is simply a blaze with an auto spawner, the machine factory, some fans, and I forget what, a grinder? Is that what this is? Grinder, yes. It is perfectly self-sustaining on essence, as you can see. I have a resonance tank full of it, and it's letting me an ample amount, if I can talk, I can't talk when I'm going, more than ample amount of blaze rods. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have missed. Just looking around quickly, I don't believe I have missed any major setup in my base. I hope you enjoyed this little tour. If I even bother posting this anywhere, or anyone even bothers watching it. Thank you.